Hey everyone, this is Adelie Jordan with Prompt 2. It's the reflection for my master's portfolio. So let's get started. My reflection and my instructional practices. So I decided to read Reflective Practice, Doing, Being, and Becoming a Reflective Practitioner by Elizabeth Ann McKay. And I was really intrigued by one of her statements. It said, reflection is a bridge to linking the theory-practice gap. Reflection on your own practice is an essential skill for lifelong learners. And it really connected with me because I truly want to be a lifelong learner. And I learn something new every day, every year with new kids and new experiences that come along with it. And I mean, even in our own daily lives, our lives are always changing. So you just continue to learn. And in my own practices, I will reflect like when classroom management strategies don't work, you may need to change it, or activities that just didn't seem right, and you change it. I mean, assessments and so much more. So I have seen where teachers are not very reflective, and they kind of blame their students for not knowing how to do something. But this is why we need to be a reflective teacher, because it's not them, it's the one teaching. And how can we better ourselves? I mean, it will never end as a teacher. So looking at my life and how far I've come, I still understand that I'm not the smartest in the room. I know that there are other women or men in schools that have many experiences, more than I do, and I would love to hear their perspectives and learn from them. So one of her statements said, through working with others, we are open to the possibility of change. Our ways of understanding can be explored, challenged, and alternatives created. So I don't want to just stay stagnant. I would love to be able to change in some areas. And this doesn't even have to just be your coworker. This could be even students. So they have a huge part of the growth as a teacher. So, oh, sorry. So upon being reflective, we had to find a lesson that we needed to review and how could we make better. So this is my pre-lesson overview. I said that I taught it last year. I've also taught it the year before because it's over adjectives, and I mean, it's kind of an ongoing thing, but this is like at the very beginning of the year when you're trying to explain what an adjective is. So I put the standard and also explained how it was the introduction, and back then I did whole group. Students needed to apply this knowledge into their writing. You want to show it, not just tell it. And by the end that I wanted them to understand, when to use an adjective versus an adverb. Now, that was like the end goal for like weeks, ahead, but I just wanted to revise my adjective lesson. So here is my pre-lesson evidence. Here, a child drew a picture of a dog, and they wrote on the side, like, my dog has 5 black spots and brown hair, and I mean, it's cute. I love it. I love their little dog. Maybe I could have told them to highlight, the adjectives, or even told them to create a compound sentence. I like to push my kids into going above and beyond, so that could have been 2 really good strategies or things to use in the lesson. So meeting the needs of my diverse learners. Like the first time I taught it, I had 24 students and 2 were SPED and the rest were Gen Ed. I met their needs by using the anchor chart for sight, which told the definition of what it was and examples, and gave them visual pictures, like it could be size, it can be shape, so they got to see that. Even with like objects around the room, you can see and touch and feel that. So when it came to our activity of describing an animal, I provided a list of adjectives that they could use and choose for their activity. Now, strategies that I use. Here are strategies that worked, and on the other side were strategies that did not work. So one of my strategies that worked was modeling my thinking process when describing an object. And I did this during the activator of my lesson to get them engaged, but I think it's just known to always show your thinking process because students are able to really grasp how they should think and how, not exactly like me, but being able to use their own thinking process in different scenarios, especially for, coming up with a sentence with adjectives. So the visual of the anchor chart helped them as well. Strategies that did not work. I did not integrate other content areas the first time, which made me really sad when I look back, because I really want that to be my goal this next year, to integrate way more. And then we feel like we always never have time when it comes to our lessons, and we kind of fly through. We may not even get to our summarizer. And so I said sometimes they're not totally engaged due to time. And I also didn't have collaborative groups. So here are the changes that I wanted to make. I wanted to use social studies. So I could integrate, and I did in my new lesson, historical figures, and we could talk about them and describe them. And then writing, I wanted to integrate more writing and allowing the students to write a descriptive paragraph about their historical figure. So the enactment, right at the top is a link to go watch my lesson. It is the summertime, and I feel like my answers being reflective would have been a little differently if I was in the classroom in a different semester. So I had my daughter to teach, and she just graduated kindergarten. So I was teaching her second grade standard, and it was really good. She's very smart, so it wasn't scary. I just hate that there was no other, kids that were involved so that I could reflect on certain things. And that's what I said right here. Like, I felt that a strength was using a PowerPoint instead of an anchor chart this time. She was engaged the whole time, but a weakness may be that I did not get to demonstrate how I would address behavior issues in the classroom and meet all the diverse learners. So now my daughter, she will not be going against me. So we did not have behavior issues, but I know that there would have been if I did this in my own classroom. I mean, I'm just saying, there's probably someone that I would have to get onto and they would redirect themselves, and that's okay. But if I was in a classroom setting, I could have included more ways to monitor my students, and some monitoring strategies that I used was in prompt 1, if you want to go back there. With my own daughter, I asked many questions and allowed her to come up to the front to answer. And then after the video, I monitored her work and gave her feedback about her sentences. So she got to come up, with or I said the ice cream cone, and it would give a noun, maybe even a verb, and then an adjective. And she would have to choose the adjective, and she did really well. She did. She picked the adjectives. Now, my approach to the way I taught this time, not so much as a lecture with an anchor chart, but I wanted it to be more interactive. I would have had sticks and pulled their names and would have called them up to be able to click, to see if they were right. And when it comes to my diverse learners, I would have provided a small group to provide extra help with them constructing their paragraphs. So how did you make changes to integrate content better? But if you look back to slide 8, you can see in my video that I was able to focus on the historical figures that they would have learned in a lesson prior to this one, but I chose 2 people, which was Tomo Chichi and Mary Musgrove, and they had to look at their pictures and describe them. I've also put that in my master's portfolio of pictures of them. And they would only have, here was another activity that I may have incorporated was allowing them to be an artist. So they would find a partner and sit in front of each other and had a paper to draw of each other. So like they would only have 5 minutes, and then afterwards they would describe their friend with adjectives. It's very fun. I have done that before. Oh. So here is a sentence. This was actually after my lesson with my niece. She wrote that he had brown skin and is wearing a furry tan shirt, and he has gold bracelets. And then she even described Mary with her black hair, and she is actually going into 2nd grade. This is my daughter's sentences that my mother kind of, helped a little bit, but she said that described him having red and white feathers, and Mary had a long dress with gold bracelets. So I was very proud of both of them. Now, my graduate experience. There were many courses throughout my graduate experience that had a tremendous impact on me. I loved that I became more culturally diverse teacher, and even being able to think about my kids with their social and emotional wellness. Like in that class, we really had to dig deeper into specific topic that was really hard on students, and I chose divorce. And I even inserted that into here, so if you would like to go and look, this is what it looks like. Just my issue brief. And so if you'd like to go and look at research that I found about it, it's there. I was very proud of that. Another course that impacted me is my language arts class that I'm actually taking right now. I've learned a lot of strategies that I can implement in my classroom, and different things to make me a better teacher. I felt it's been very beneficial. One thing that might have strengthened me more as a teacher that should have maybe be included in the program is integration when it comes to strategies on how to integrate content, technology, or real world connection activities. And then thank you. The more reflective you are, the more effective you are. And here's my references. So thank you so much for listening. Bye.